Remember us, let us pray. Almighty God, we in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants who have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in such a faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, members. Thank you. Pass on to our standing orders. I order the quorum bell to be rung for 10 minutes. Members of the team.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Very well. We have papers to be laid this evening. The leader of majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, June 15, 2021, in the evening sitting. Number 1, the reports and resolutions adopted at the 3rd meeting of the 4th session of the East Africa Legislative Assembly, which include 1, the report of the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges on the oversight activity on capacity building. Second is a report of the Committee on General Purpose on oversight activity to assess the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on women in cross-border trade in the EAC region. And last in this category is the resolution of the Assembly paying tribute to His Excellency, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, former President of the United Republic of Tanzania. The second batch is documents from the National Treasury accompanying the budget statement for the financial year 2021-2022. 1, the budget statement for the financial year 2021-2022, the budget policy statement for 2021, the estimates of revenue, grants, and loans for the financial year 2021-2022 budget, then the financial statement for the financial year 2021-2022 budget, the medium-term debt management strategy for 2021, the budget highlights, in quotes, the Mwananchi Guide for the financial year 2021-22 budget, and lastly, the statistical annex to the budget statement for the financial year 2021-2022. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Proceed and read the papers. Thank you.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements. Order number 8, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2021, second reading.
Very well. On order number 8, let us have the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee to move the second reading.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. And I was seeking your indulgence if I can relax my mask a little bit, because it would have taken some time. With your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, I can move.
Well, unless I can ascertain where you are, which I am not a doctor, just
I
a
can
speaker,
move here.
but the rules have not been relaxed. Our members, this thing is with us, and members should be the first people to give example to the public. And now, thank you, Leader of Majority.
Thank you so much,
Now
Honorable
that
Speaker.
Honorable Kanini Kega, you have not been confirmed. But now, yes, please ensure that we keep distance. If it means the Honorable Sangok to move to the other seat, please. Please protect the Leader of Majority.
He is safe. He is safe. Thank you so much.
This house, we have Dr. Pokose, who has confirmed, though this thing is progressive. Honourable members, let us protect each other.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, and I kindly oblige. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2021, be read a second time. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Article 110 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 191(4) of the Public Finance Management Act, 2012, and Standing Order 41, I am ordered to present to this House, on behalf of the members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, the committee's report on the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate number 30 of 2021. Honorable Speaker, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill is an annual legislation introduced in accordance with the provisions of Article 218 of the Constitution, with the objective of equitably allocating the share of national revenue amongst the 47 counties. The Senate, on Thursday, 3rd June 2021, passed with amendments the County Allocation of Revenue Bill 2021 and sought concurrence of the National Assembly on the said bill in accordance with provisions of Article 1121B of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, the bill, and I want just to refresh the memories of members, the bill was further read first time in the National Assembly on Tuesday, 8th June 2021, and committed to my committee. CARB, or the County of Allocation of Revenue Bill, guarantees county governments their respective share of revenue raised nationally and ensures seamless operations at county level. This is done through the enactment of the County Allocation of Revenue Act, CARA, based on the overall provisions in the Division of Revenue Act, DORA. Honorable Speaker, the DORA 2021 gives a total allocation of Kenya shillings 370 billion as equitable share to county governments. The County Allocation of Revenue Bill has therefore been based on the approved DORA of 2021. Honorable Speaker, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill 2021 proposes to share the allocation of the Kenya shilling 370 billion amongst the county governments for the financial year 2021-2022, and it contains two schedules relating to the following. One, the first schedule is the equitable share of Kenya shillings 370 billion allocation of each county government, equitable share of revenue raised nationally for the financial year 2021-2022. And the second schedule, Madam Speaker, is on the county allocation budget ceilings of recurrent expenditure in the financial year 2021-2022. Honorable Speaker, the first schedule of the CARA 2021 provides for the horizontal distribution of the equitable share among the 47 counties using a formula approved by Parliament in September 2020, which is arrived at by using one half of the equitable share allocated to counties in the financial year 2019-2020, amounting to Kenya shillings 158.25 billion shillings, and netting out from the equitable share of Kenya shillings 370 billion, while the resulting balance of Kenya shillings 211.75 billion is allocated among counties using a formula or the following formula or basis. And I beseech members not to try and very much contemplate on this one, because the Senate took 2 years to agree on this formula. That is 18% population index plus 17% health index plus 10% agriculture index plus 5% urban index plus 14% poverty index plus 8% land area plus 8% load index plus 20% basic share index. Honorable Speaker, I know, of course, many members are lost on this one. And as I said earlier, the Senate took 2 years to agree on this formula. The proposed second schedule is in relation to the county government's budget ceiling on the recurrent expenditure for the county executives and the county assemblies for the financial year 2021-2022. And the recommendations are in fulfillment of the requirements of Article 216, 2 and 3 of the Constitution of Kenya and Section 107(2) of the Public Finance Management Act. Honorable Speaker, the Senate, in their consideration, made some amendments. And they observed, or they made some observation and, of course, some amendments. They observed that the county assemblies have raised concerns on the non-disbursement of all budgetary allocations. The slow or delayed exchequer releases have contributed to loss of unspent resources at the end of each financial year, as well as pending bills from one financial year to the other. Honorable Speaker, today's in the newspaper, the Council of Governors had a full page lamenting that they have not received funds for the last 4 months. Honorable Speaker, counties have pending bills, which include Kenya sharing 26.02 billion for county pension fund as of 31st December 2020, and Kenya shillings 14.57 billion for local authority pension trust as of 30th November 2020, as indicated by the report from the Auditor General, from the Controller of Budget. With the ceilings of recurrent budget remaining at the same as in the financial year 2020-2021, the county governments might have a challenge in settling the pending bills and have insufficient resources to meet statutory requirements and offer other services. Honorable Speaker, considering the above observations, the Senate made amendments to the recurrent expenditure ceilings on the county assembly and increased the ceiling from the proposed Kenya sharing 33.25 billion shillings to now 35.66 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, I want to go to the recommendations of the committee. Honorable Speaker, we held, after we got this report, we held two meetings where extensive deliberations were held. But of course, remembering that if you have to make any amendment to this CARA, of course, we know the threshold. So, Honorable Speaker, we observed that there is a high level of pending bills at the county level, as well as lack of transparency in reporting of pending bills. In fact, Honorable Speaker, more than half of the counties could not actually give us the right pending bills. The county governments need also to prioritize pending bills as a first charge in the budget implementation cycle for the financial year 2021-2022 before embarking on new financial commitments. Madam Speaker, when the CS, National Treasurer, was here, he gave a directive that all pending bills must be paid by 30th of this month. We are hoping that this one is going to be actualized. Honorable Speaker, in addition, the prudence in the management of public finances at county level, reporting of pending bills should be for both executive and assembly. The report that we only got the pending bills from the assembly. On the side of the executive, we didn't get. Honorable Speaker, the second one is that the county assembly ceilings have been improved on account of personal emolument and for settlement of outstanding pending bills. Honorable Speaker, the county assembly salaries and wages have been rising over the past years due to the annual salary increment. The increment further have an effect on gratuity cost and hence a small growth in county assembly ceilings. Honorable Speaker, our committee had only one recommendation, that this House do concur with the Senate on the schedule hereby attached. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and request the whip. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable Whip, Emmanuel Wangwe, to second. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Let's have is it the Honorable Whip? The Whip, the Honorable Member, Honorable Wangwe, to second.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to raise...
And this is the whip of the majority.
The majority whip. Honorable Speaker, we've been clarified by the Speaker that you don't refer to yourself. You let others refer to you. Therefore, in that shoes of the Speaker...
I am sure you have not done it. I'm the one who is referring to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion by the Chair Budget and Appropriation on the CARA. Honorable Speaker, this motion is timely, is due, and I would wish that the members really rise out and support it and vote for it, if possible, today, Honorable Speaker. The reason being that, Honorable Speaker, counties, we all belong to counties, and this is the only bill, the only motion that gives counties resources from this financial year 2021-2022, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, as we endeavor to give the counties 370 billion from this bill, Honorable Speaker, it's important we have to caution the counties and tell them that this is not the time to misappropriate resources. This is the time to really plan for resources so that when the resources flow down from the Treasury to the counties, Kenyans expect that, Honorable Speaker, services are delivered. We want to caution counties and ask the Honorable Speaker to live up to the Constitution and ensure that the services are equitably distributed to the counties, regardless of those sites that were voted for them or those that did not vote for them. But we want to make sure that, Honorable Speaker, they endeavor to support and deliver the services to the to the Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in this bill, there is also the issue of the formulas as alluded to by the Chair Budget, which we would not want to go to. Instead, we want to thank the Senate that, Honorable Speaker, they resolved the stalemate that was there, and now the formula can flow seamlessly to the year 2024, 2025, as they envisaged, Honorable Speaker, in their deliberations. With those few comments, Honorable Speaker, I wish to second.
You wish to second. Very well, members. I propose the question, which is that the County Allocation Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2021, be now read a second time. I give the first member on my request list to the nominated 001, Honorable Ole Sankrok David.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also inject my voice on this very important motion. Honorable Speaker, we will definitely support the report and the motion so that we do away and finish with the allocation, Honorable Speaker, so that the counties can receive their money. Honorable Speaker, but we want to caution counties that as we allocate these resources to the counties, let them follow the directive from Treasury that let them clear pending bills. Honorable Speaker, because our people are suffering, the economy is suffocating because of pending bills, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, some persons with disabilities, through what we call access to government procurement opportunities by women, youth, and persons with disability, had been awarded tenders in county government, Honorable Speaker, but they have not been paid. Some of them have ended up in serious poverty, Honorable Speaker. Some of them have been auctioned, and some of them have committed suicide because of these pending bills. So let them clear the pending bills first, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, secondly, we are allocating these funds not for campaign money. We know we are going into a campaign year, Honorable Speaker, and we are not, especially for those who are in their first term, who are seeking a second term. Let the governor not use this money as campaign tools. Let them finish up the White Elephant project that they had started. Any unfinished project should be completed, Honorable Speaker, before starting new ones, Honorable Speaker. Because there is a temptation, now that we are in a campaign year, for governors who want re-election or who have candidates to start now spreading thin but widely, Honorable Speaker, these finances so that they can be, they can appease to the electorate, Honorable Speaker. So we want to caution them that this money should be used prudently and especially in completing uncompleted projects, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as we support this formula of allocating our resources, the chairman of Budget and Appropriation had elaborated on how we allocate this fund and how we divide these funds among the counties, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we support, but I have reservation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, because according to me, whichever language you will use to tell us how population, landmass, and everything will determine how these funds are allocated, Honorable Speaker. But we know, and it is truth, that it is population that follows development. It is not development following population. Honorable Speaker, there is a higher population here in Nairobi, not because of anything else, but because of development that is in Nairobi. Good infrastructure in terms of road, good hospitals, national schools, universities, and even parliament seat in Nairobi, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if we develop any part of this country, we will offload the high population that is making part of our country to be largest slums in the world, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we will not also be able to offload if we continuously let development and resources follow people, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this formula have always been used in 1 man, 1 shilling, Honorable Speaker, because that is what it is boiling to. And what we want, and what we wanted, Honorable Speaker, is 1 acre, 1 shilling. Because infrastructure are not built on human heads. Infrastructure, roads, are on land, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, you develop any part of this country, the population will follow that development, Honorable Speaker. There are 35,000 Kenyans immigrants working in Qatar, a tiny desert peninsula. But because of development, they are there, Honorable Speaker. If this House will rise to the occasion and allocate funds in terms of landmass, Honorable Speaker, Population will be found in Oloyangalani, Honorable Speaker. Population will be found in Lamu, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, as we increase the population in some of these areas, we will be able to recognize and the potentials in these areas, Honorable Speaker. For a long time, Honorable Speaker, because of some areas, especially the pastoralist region, which is 80% of the landmass of Kenya, have been neglected in terms of resources because they say we are sparsely populated. Honorable Speaker, that have come with a cost to this country. For a long time, we have been having, since the creation of this planet, the oil in Turkana. But because Turkana was considered as another remote area, we were not able to get the benefit of that oil, Honorable Speaker. For a long time, our livestock have been considered as low potential, Honorable Speaker. For a long time, tourism have been considered as low potential. The blue economy have been considered the low potential, Honorable Speaker. Because once these areas are sparsely populated, we tend to channel all our resources to where there is overpopulation. Honorable Speaker, today, we risk central Kenya and pockets of Western being the largest slums in the world, straining all the social amenities because population are following development, and we have put development there, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let us develop all parts of this country. And this is the best time to develop all parts of this country. This is the formula that will allocate funds to all parts of this country, using land as a basis.
The Honorable 001, there is a point of order and intervention by the member for Togaran. Yes, Honorable Similu Eseli.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With a lot of respect to Member 001, could he substantiate this thing he's saying that there's development in Western, hence the high population?
Very well, Honorable Member. Please, can you substantiate the same? Because, of course, it's a house of debate, but
of course,
it's important for you to substantiate.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
If I had enough time, I know Dr. Eseli really want to be heard by the constituency back there in the reserve, and you have been heard.
No.
Honorable Speaker, but if I
You're
had,
out of order.
if I had time,
Eseli is on a point of order.
yes, if I had time, I will have elaborated, and I will have substantiated.
Are you able to substantiate?
Yes.
How do you defend yourself on that?
Yes. In session paper number 10 of 1965, and this is what I've actually informed the allocation of resources from 1965, and this is what is informing the allocation of resources up to now. During that time, they said all Kenyan taxes will be invested in high potential areas. And those who are in the kitchen cabinet only knew agriculture as high potential. And we have never seen any country that have become rich because of Sukuma Wiki. We have seen countries becoming rich like Netherlands because of tourism, Honorable Speaker. We have, Honorable Speaker, tourism in part of the pastoralist countries, counties. But because of low allocation of resources, we are not able to exploit that potential, Honorable Speaker. We have geothermal electric power in Suswa in Narok, Honorable Speaker. Because we are considered as low potential, we have continuously bought electricity from Jinja, from Uganda, for a long time, Honorable Speaker. This is the time we are saying that we are telling this house, let us consider all the areas of this country. Let us develop all of it, Honorable Speaker. That is what I'm saying. I do support. I thank you.
Very well. Other members, let me give you a direction. Other members, let us not play politics in the house. It's a house of debates, and we represent all the Kenyans. Let me have the leader of majority, and the member represent the people of Kipipiri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this report of the committee on the county allocation of revenue bill that has been forwarded to us from our colleagues in the Senate. And members, Honorable Speaker, will recall that on 30th of June, of April this year, His Excellency the President did assent to the Division of Revenue Act bill, and then became the Division of Revenue Act, which then now triggered the next level, which is now the preparation of the horizontal allocation of the money across the 47 counties. And this Parliament did provide the required resources, 370 billion, which was promised last year, just to make sure that the formula can work. Because if members may remember, you know, even after 2 years of working on this formula for the allocation of these resources, Senate seemed to have shot themselves in the foot by creating that, you know, year one, this will happen, year two, this will happen, but it was pegged to the resources starting at 370. Now, if this House did not provide 370 or our revenue fell, we would have had a problem. But I want to thank the President in his wisdom for having guided that let's start from 370, at least to ensure the formula works, at least for now. The issue, as we appreciate, is devolution created this division of functions with Schedule 4 outlining some 14 functions that were deemed to be very close to the people. Health, water, you know, livestock, trade. These are services that are so close to the people and were devolved so they can be provided at that level. And the rest were then reserved for the national government. Now, one of the fundamental things about these issues of devolution is these 14 functions, for members who may remember, is about the same services that we provided within the, was it CAP 65, within the county, as you know, the Local Governments Act. And when they were now devolved rather than decentralized, the finances then had to follow those functions. And this perhaps presents one of the dilemmas that we have, even as we look at this schedule. That we said all counties are expected to provide the services which are also captured within the Bill of Rights in terms of health, in terms of certain infrastructure, in terms of water in sufficient quantities. But when you also look at the allocation of resources, the water is consumed by people. Health is consumed by people. The farming activities are people-based. But we now look at the way Senate argued, and because of historical reason, you now end up with situations where you have the per capita allocation in the various counties is totally disproportionate. Yet, finance is supposed to follow functions. Honorable Speaker, our constitutional architecture recognizes and appreciates that there are regional disparities. And it also recognizes that the revenue-raising powers are different between the various regions. Be that as it may, where the revenue-raising powers are not sufficient, the design compensates that with more transfers to ensure that the resources can be matched with the responsibilities to spend to provide those services to the people to satisfy their needs. And this is all captured within Article 175 of the Constitution, which basically talks to the issue of matching of funds to functions and ensuring it requires that county governments shall have reliable sources of revenue to enable them to govern and deliver services effectively. And it is in this spirit that we assist with this agenda to approve the dispatch and distribution of funds commensurate with the needs and predicaments of each county as per the allocation formula. Yet, like I said before, when you look at the schedule attached to this report, and I'll just quote two examples, because the Honorable Sankok did mention the issues of development. When I compare an emerging county like Nyandarua, a county that was created at independence from the White Highlands, does not have the same endowments in terms of perennial crops like Nyeri, Kiambu with the coffee and tea, does not have the endowment that the county of Narok has in terms of the wildlife, in terms of the huge wheat fields, but has a higher population than Narok. But you now look at the distribution, you see county of Narok has 8.8 billion shillings. The county of Nyandarua has 5.7 billion. So if you look at the two, and it's within the same ecological zone. So if you look at those two, then you can see on a per capita basis, the resident of Nyandarua County is marginalized through the allocation of resources because they will not get adequate health care, they will not get adequate water, they will not get adequate agricultural improvement, especially when you now remove some of this money and give it to the county assembly and give some of this money to the executive to spend. And you can give similar examples. You can look at the county of Kiambu with 2.4 million people. Compare with the county with a lesser population. So this is part of the thing that BBI was hoping, and is still hoping, to resolve. So that even as Honorable Sankok, and he rightfully argues from a certain point, that development will attract people. But I want to ask, over the last 8 years or so, if you look at the total money that has gone to Turkana County, you're talking of over 100 billion shillings, plus the national expenditure on the roads that have taken place. But is the average Turkana person better off now than they were 8 years ago? Madam Speaker, if you visit that county, you will still see what you used to see 10 years back. So we need to start thinking and challenging the county government that we are providing these resources so the lives of the people can be made better. When you look at counties like Nyandarua, I know we have challenges because even our health care system, the entire Nyandarua County, and I can give an example of the entire Kibeperi constituency, sub-county. There's not a single hospital.
Order, Honorable Leader of Majority. And Honorable Sankok, you must please state for me, because I will not allow us members to interrupt debates because of point of orders that have no base. But of course, I really respect your point of orders. Please quote the point of order that you are standing on the standing order.
Honorable Speaker.
How is the leader of majority out of order? So that we don't waste members'
Yes.
time.
Honorable Speaker, I rose on a point of order.
Oh, standing order number?
The Honorable,
Which standing order number?
the Honorable Majority Leader,
Order. You are basing your point of order on which standing order number?
yes, that is what
What is out
I
of
was
order?
stating. What is out of order? All
Which
of you are
standing order?
speaking. You know, let us not tribalize this issue.
Order,
Just-
Honorable Sangog. Which standing order? So that
The
we don't
Honorable Majority Leader is out of order by misleading this House, because I know that Turkana is not the same way it used to be 10 years ago, because there are hotels that have come up, there are county government projects that have come up. That is why there are even pending bills in Turkana, Honorable Speaker. So he is misleading the House.
Order, 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 order. Honorable Sankok.
Honorable Speaker,
No, before, Honorable Kimunja, just a moment. Now, member, do the rules and procedures of the House. You cannot stand on a point of order to debate. How you know you should present to the House and substantiate, Honorable Sankok. You cannot speak from your desk or from where you sit and claim of a position that you cannot present to these members. This is a House of debates and procedures. So the Honorable Leader of Majority, unless you can convince this House is out of order by presentation of the information that should be clarified, then we can take it, but you cannot just stand. And so this one, I want you to guide members. Don't just work, this is not a marketplace. Don't just rise up. You want to put your point, you want to be hard spoken. In fact, I'll rule you out of order. I'll rule you out of order. You should be able to substantiate any statement that you make before this House, honorable members.
yeah, thank
For
you.
us to be able to. Honorable Kimunya, just carry on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think it's important that members get to look at what is happening in this country. Because when I talk about the people of Turkana not having benefited as much as they should have done through development, I'm talking of Kenyans living in Turkana. And it pains me that we have spent so much money in that county, and you are still seeing children going to school under trees. You are still finding that when the rains fail, people are eating wild fruits, with 80 billion having been pumped into that county. Now, you could give examples of different counties where we have seen those problems. And what I'm asking is, we as a House, if we don't express these concerns so that the governors know that we are not just giving them this money so they can start building big empires, big White Houses, yeah? Empire building, showing off, driving many convoys, that we are giving them this money so that they can better the lives of the people at the grassroots level in terms of the 14 functions that have been devolved. If we don't do this, we will be failing our duty as a House that allocated money to the Senate to then allocate across the different counties. The Speaker, Madam Speaker, I did mention that yes, much as these functions have been devolved, the county governments cannot act and work in isolation. Governments are interdependent because some functions have been assigned, yet the policy issues have been retained at the center. And it's the kind of thing we should be integrating and looking at where can we get maximum economies of scale by perhaps even helping some of those counties. I want us to look at the county of Nairobi. County of Nairobi was devolved. It's right in the center. It's very developed according to the analysis by some people. But we've seen the failure by the devolved government to even clean up Nairobi, and you can see what has happened within the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. It's so clear. It's like day and night in terms of what General Body has been doing in Nairobi at low cost to make Nairobi a better place. We wish all counties had a General Body. We hope they had a Metropolitan Service. Then our people will not be suffering. We will not be conducting harambes every time we go to the constituency. Because health services in the counties which are devolved will be working. We will not be losing our people to COVID because people are not prepared. Countries are not prepared. And I know there are some countries that are doing very well, and we must congratulate them. I won't name them here. Honorable Speaker, besides this interdependence, we have a role by the Senate in terms of safeguarding the devolution. They represent the counties, and we know they're doing a good job. And what we want to ask them is that protecting the interests of the counties must start with demanding accountability for the funds that we are sending there, to see a clear linkage between money is going and improvement in the lives of the people. It's not just saying we are protecting the counties, we want to get the money, but that money must translate to better livelihoods. It must translate to better lives of the people. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to emphasize that. I've read the committee's report, and I agree on the issue of pending bills. It's something we need to resolve, especially our youth are suffering. They took loans to provide services and goods to county government, and they have not been paid. The earlier the governors can sort them, the earlier we can eliminate poverty at that level. Thank you. With those words, I support.
Very well. Honorable members, with that, allow me just guide the House or give a, communication. That members, when we are rising on a point of order, and this way to go, please be able to state the standing order number, which gives us the procedures of running of the House or how we debate, so that we can be able to save on time. The number in this parliament, members, we need to save time for the other. Then let me have the member from Bonchari, the Honorable Oimeke Pavel. The Honorable member from Bonchari.
Thank you very much.
The members who are near the, please, honorable members, we are still not out of this pandemic.
I don't know, Madam Speaker, you will allow me to address the House without...
The Chairman, Public Investment Committee is just near you. Honorable Chairman, please. Yes, thank you. And this is a maiden speech, I understand.
Yes.
This is your first time to
Speaker.
speak in the National Assembly.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I rise to make my maiden speech so that, Madam Speaker, I may be properly initiated to this House. Madam Speaker, I wish to sincerely thank the people of Bonchari and also thank the Almighty God for the just concluded by-election in Bonchari. Madam Speaker, if you will allow me, I wish to state that Madam Speaker, if you may allow me, I wish to...
Order members, Honorable Kanini Kega. Honorable Kanini Kega, please can we give time to the member for Bonchari who is contributing to the County Allocation and Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2021. And of course, being his maiden speech, there is no interruption, honorable members. Yes, carry on.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I recognize that the County Allocation Bill is very critical for the operation of the counties and has been put by the Chair, Budget and Appropriation Committee. The formula went through a rigorous process and has been anchored in the laws that for the next 2 or 3 years, it will be, the formula is approved. I want to recognize that the budget for this, the county allocation bill, is 370 billion. And I want to say that the biggest problem hindering the counties from executing, or rather using that budget, is the disbursement. And I will urge this honorable House to really engage the National Treasury to disperse the funds in a timely manner to enable the counties utilize the bill. I also want to highlight, Madam Speaker, that the pending bills are actually a problem to the whole country. Most counties have contractors who have not been paid, some up to the last over 5 years. And some of these businesses have actually collapsed. Some of the directors of these businesses, some of them have died due to stress of having borrowed money to fund the contracts. And I want to request this Honorable House to really come strongly on this issue of pending bills to ensure that the counties and also the National Treasury is actually dispersing the funds to enable payment. Madam Speaker, I also want to highlight that the CS National Treasury, Honorable Ambassador Kuruyatani, issued a directive to ensure that the counties pay these bills in time. And the directive is dated 30th of June 2021. I will wish that this is obeyed to make sure that the Kenyan suffering due to non-payment of bills is actually honored. I also wish to note, Madam Speaker, that the issue of increasing salaries in the counties is a worrying trend where the counties are just paying salaries and no part of that budget, the percentage that is devoted to development, is very meager. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I wish also to just proceed and present part of my maiden speech. Madam Speaker, allow me once again to send my appreciation to the great people of Bonchari and all those who worked tirelessly in the recently concluded super by-election for me to be a member of this Honorable August House. The by-election was super in many respects, the reasons for which, for Bonchari being a by-election is well known to the members of this House. Madam Speaker, I wish to quote from the Holy Bible, and I want to quote Matthew 5:14 to 16, which I quote, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let the light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." End of quote. Madam Speaker, in my career and professional life, many people have tried to put off my light. However, our Father in heaven and our Lord Jesus Christ has been steadfast in dismantling these dark forces' plans and assuring me that the will of God will be done in my life. Madam Speaker, my distractors and prosecutors know that the Almighty God is my shield, protector, and defender. Madam Speaker, a recent case in my tribulations and persecution at my last call of duty, where I served as the CEO, stroke Director General, let me be crystal clear that by putting off someone's light does not mean or guarantee that your light will shine brighter. But in fact, the converse is true. Your light will dim and dim more and more. My detractors, Madam Speaker, I pray for them, I forgive them, and I leave vengeance to the Almighty God and our Lord Jesus Christ. Madam Speaker, the great people of Bonchari stood up against police intimidation, harassment, raw display of police power, arrests and house arrests, prosecutions, abuse of power, broad daylight threats, massive and open bribery, while most of the police who guarded them watched. But the people of Bonchari still stood up to vote for the best candidate. Indeed, Madam Speaker, our victory is clear, practical demonstration that the great people of Bonchari, gone against the autocratic power and deep state. Madam Speaker, I stand for reconciliation in order to heal and build a great Bonchari and our beloved country, Kenya. Madam Speaker, to the great people of Bonchari, thank you very much for standing for democracy. I salute you for the commitment, bravery, loyalty to defend our supreme rights as enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya. I'm honored by your trust, belief, and unshakable faith in me and my ODM party. I pledge that your confidence in us shall not be betrayed whatsoever. Honorable Speaker, the recent super by-election in Bonchari demonstrated that truly power belongs to the people. Madam Speaker, once again, our victory in this super election shows that the determination of our people to ensure that democracy triumphs in this country. Honorable members, let us all resolve to enact laws to ensure that every vote counts in any election held in our country, Kenya. As we exercise power, let me be on record that the sovereignty that belongs to the great people of Kenya, but not to an individual. Madam Speaker, I pray and hope that what was witnessed in Bonchari and elsewhere will not happen again in our country, Kenya. Madam Speaker, allow me to salute the enigma of Kenyan politics, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who is popularly known as Baba, for his great and tremendous personal sacrifice for the freedom and democracy we presently enjoy as Kenyans. Baba was arrested and detained without trial for 6 years, and the fruits of this persecution is the Constitution of Kenya, the freedom of speech and association, and the democracy we enjoy today. Pray God to bless Baba with a long life. I also pray that Baba becomes the president of Kenya, and through credible, fair general election in the year 2022. Mr. Speaker, my special gratitude goes to the ODM party leadership for the discerning.
The honorable member for Bonchari, as much as I respect men, I am a madam. Madam Speaker, not Mr. Speaker. Yes, just carry on. Otherwise, you're not supposed to be interrupted. But as a speaker, it's a maiden speech. Eh? No another member can interrupt, apart from also guiding.
Madam Speaker, I stand guided. Madam Speaker, allow me, I wish to repeat that sentence, that to salute the enigma of Kenyan politics. Baba was arrested and detained without trial for 6 years, and the fruits of this persecution is the freedoms we enjoy today. I pray to God that Baba becomes the president of this country. Madam Speaker, special gratitude goes to the ODM party leadership for the discerning the leader in me against all odds, and in giving me the party ticket and believing that I will deliver Bonchari for the ODM party. Madam Speaker, I wish to sincerely thank you and specifically the great people of Kisii County. First of all, I want to appreciate our governor, His Excellency, Honorable James Ongwae, that's the governor of Kisii County. I also wish to appreciate Professor Simon Ngeri, who is the senator of Kisii County. I also wish to appreciate Honorable Charles Onyancha. I also wish to appreciate the women rep, Honorable Janet Ongera. I also wish to appreciate Honorable Timothy Boshire, who is a former member of this House and ODM Party National Treasurer. I also wish to appreciate the ODM Executive Director, that is Odori Ogwen. I also wish to appreciate ODM Communication Director, that's Philip Wetale. I also wish to appreciate Kisii County MCS, led by Honorable Vincent Moisabi, Honorable Protas Moindi, and Honorable Ismail Matundura. Additionally, I also wish to appreciate Honorable John Mbati and all judges in Bonchari for supporting my candidature. I look forward to working with all the judges and the leaders, including the candidates in the just concluded by-elections. Madam Speaker, my gratitude goes to the entire ODM family who stood and supported me, both materially, spiritually, through the campaigns. You left your personal engagement to drum up support for my candidature. I wish to confirm that your presence during the campaigns and the by-election day immensely gave me hope for victory. Madam Speaker, to safeguard our democracy against intimidation, harassment, blunder and disregard of the Constitution of Kenya and the laws of this country, and all forms of misuse of state power, of state resources, and abuse of power by a few individuals, I call upon the honorable members of this House to look at relevant and applicable laws, to do amendments as necessary. I also urge Kenyan voters to take cue from the great people of Bonchari, that despite the mentioned illegalities committed during the by-elections, they voted to elect a young, energetic, and visionary and a transformational leader. Madam Speaker, allow me to send a special message to the Abaguzi community. We, the Abaguzi community, must be recognized. We, the Abaguzi community, must be in recognition that our own destiny lies in our own hands. No one, and I repeat, no one, should take us for granted at the expense of satisfying his or our bankrupt ideologies. I urge all Abaguzi leaders to forgive one another, unite, and work together for the prosperity of the entire Guzi community. Madam Speaker, as I embark on my duties as MP, I will ensure full implementation of my campaign manifesto, which I pledged during the Super by-election. I wish to ensure completion of projects that stalled, that were started by the former MP, Honorable Charles Onyancha, and also the late Honorable Oro Yoka. I also wish to fast-track the last-mile connections in the areas without electricity, improve on security, infrastructure. Madam Speaker, additionally, I will also, in consultation with the people of Bonchari and the relevant experts, prepare or develop a 5-year economic development master plan and also develop a 5-year educational development master plan to improve and transform education in Bonchari. Madam Speaker, I will also continue implementation of sharing between the communities and institutions of bowl water resources already drilled in Bonchari, and also commence the process of establishing agricultural produce value addition to cottage industries in Bonchari. Madam Speaker, finally, allow me to send special greetings to all Kenyans from all walks of life for all forms of support they offered me during the Bonchari Super by-elections. I wish to acknowledge the congratulatory messages I received from friends, relatives, and Kenyans upon my victory in Bonchari. Madam Speaker, as we prepare for the future, I urge all of us, honorable members, to dedicate our energies to the service of the great people of Kenya, leaving a clean record of transformational leadership and alleviation of poverty amongst our people through enactment of new transformational laws and effective oversight of existing laws. As I conclude, I thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity and all honorable members for their attention. Honorable Speaker, I look forward to working with your office as I embark on my political journey. God bless the great people of Bonchari. God bless our country, Kenya. Thank you very much.
Very well, and congratulations on your maiden speech, the member for Bonchari. You say you're young, energetic. You're welcome to the National Assembly, the 12th Parliament. Yeah, yes, of course, he has a lot of energy. Honourable members, can we have the member for Igembe Central, the Honourable Iringo Kubai?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this opportunity to add my voice on this County Allocation Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2021. Madam Speaker, let me thank the Senate for having come up with the formula and also allocating the money which was already allocated to them and allocating them to each and every county of this country. Despite that it has taken some time because there was a stalemate, but at least they have come up with the formula and the distribution, and ours is just to pass it so that this money can be trickled down to our counties, and in the process go to the development, because with the devolution, Madam Speaker, this is the money which should be felt just at the grassroots, in the village, and each and every corner of our country, because apart from the CDF, which also trickles down to each and every corner of this country, this money, when it goes to the county assemblies, is also allocated and distributed accordingly. Madam Speaker, mine is to urge, especially the Senate, in the future, to be doing these things on time, so that at least when this money is released, the money is released in time and it goes to the counties, because now once this money goes to the county, there will be another process now in the county assembly to allocate maybe the money to the ones and the various programs, which will also take some time. But Madam Speaker, also in the urge Treasury, once this money has been released and the counties have done their allocations, they need to release the money. The Treasury should release the money appropriately and within time, so that we don't have the problem we have now in most of our counties of pending bills. The issue of pending bills, Madam Speaker, as it has been mentioned in this House this evening, they have become a thorn in the flesh within the counties, and many people are blaming maybe the governors or the CECs in charge of their treasuries, because many people do the projects, or those who are given contracts, they do using their own resources. They go and borrow money from their banks and they give collateral of their properties. And after doing the business, the job which was allocated to them, Madam Speaker, that then it takes too long to pay until the banks now start demanding payment. They put a lot of interest on it because they become almost bad debts, and it becomes a burden to the companies or individuals who did this work, Madam Speaker. And in the end, you find that the people who do the contracts, you don't benefit. Instead, you go into a loss, maybe monetarily, and others even get sick. Others even get a lot of stress. Therefore, there should be timely release of money so that all projects can be done on time. And the more so, I'll urge the counties also, before they do anything else, once they receive this money, they should pay all the pending bills so that they can start with a fresh, clean slate. And in the process, now they can allocate that money to other needed cases. Madam Speaker, each and every county has got its own issues and problems. Each county has got its own unique needs. If it is the semi-arid or the arid counties, they have got their own issues, maybe of infrastructure, maybe of water and others. But it is up to the individual county assemblies now to put money where it rightly belongs. They put their money where development will be seen, where the common mwananchi will be seen to benefit. And especially through experience, Madam Speaker, in my county of Meru, I would emphasize that once this money goes there, they work, they put enough money on infrastructure. We have got very poor roads in Meru, which are very dilapidated, and Meru is quite hilly. People don't even be able to, they don't get to their homes. They use motorbikes or they go on foot. And because this money, and especially they have got some money which in Meru they are calling World Fund, this money should be allocated to repair these small roads which go into the villages, which go to the schools and churches, and so that people can move on well. We are told that the carer money, that the 22 and 10% money which comes into the constituencies, usually is used to do the roads which connect the constituency and another one. But there are those small roads which interconnect villages. They need to be done, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I will also emphasize that they should put more money on health. Health has become a problem, and we need as many health centers and health facilities closer to the people, more than we need even churches or more than we need even schools. We need each and every sub-county, or sorry, every ward, at least, or even 1 or 2 or 3 in every ward, so that people should not do not travel to go and seek medical assistance or medical services from far away. There are some people in my place, like expectant mothers, Madam Speaker. Sometimes they travel almost 15 kilometers so that they can get to the nearest health center or health facility to be served or to get babies. And sometimes we get even babies in the vehicles when they are on their way. So I would urge the counties, at least, to make sure that we have got these facilities put in place and they allocate enough money on the same. Madam Speaker, there is also an issue of water. There is a perennial problem of water, especially in the arid areas. And in my county, there is a big chunk of area, especially in Yegembe North, Yegembe Central, Tigania East, and Tigania West. Those 4 constituencies have got, and Bori, 5 constituencies, we have got a big chunk which connects us with our sisters and brothers in Isiolo. It is quite arid and we require a lot of water. So also water must be, enough money should be allocated to that one. Sometimes I get surprised, Madam Speaker, when the counties say they have no money, and at the end of the day, you find them, they have purchased 10 or 20 Purandos or Land Cruisers at the expense of maybe of a borehole, at the expense of a dispensary, or at the expense of any other facility. So this money should be used prudently, and it is my wish that, and the request is that this money, most of it should go to development, because this is where we need it most. Madam Speaker, we have got the ECD classes, which are under the county governments. These classes are somehow neglected, and most of our schools, they don't have these classes. I will urge the county governments at least to allocate enough funds to put up good classrooms for our toddlers who go to school. Sometimes they learn in very poor facilities. They are very young. They need to be taken very seriously. They are very delicate, and they need proper classes to start their life in journey of education in. And therefore, they should put enough classrooms, and they must also allocate funds for teachers. If you go across with my constituency, and I believe many others, you'll find that there are schools where still parents are employing nursery school kids, teachers, and usually they employ some women who are not qualified. We need to have them at least get trained, and at least the county allocates enough money to pay these teachers. I remember sometimes, I think it's in the last session of this parliament, where we passed that the nursery school teachers should be trained, and they should be people with knowledge. We should not give our children people who are not baked to bake them, and that is when they are starting their education. And in the process, you find that when they go up the education ladder and they don't start well, they have a problem. Therefore, we need also to look into that one, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, finally, let us at least from Treasury to the Senate, to this August House, and to the county assemblies, and to the departments of our local government, have a time frame on when to allocate these funds, release of funds, and do the due process of sharing this money, so that we don't talk of lateness in paying bills and other things, Madam Speaker. I can see my time is gone, but I would urge that let us use money prudently so that we can develop this country of ours and at least leave it better than we met it. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. We give the floor to the member nominee, Honorable Gatti Denita. Honorable Gatti Denita.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to support the County Allocation of Revenue Bill 2021 that has been brought here from the Senate, and thank the Senate, Madam Speaker, for the timely release of this report. Madam Speaker, the bill is basically trying to make provisions for the allocation of revenue from the funds, Madam Speaker, and revenue that has been collected nationally among the various devolved units, those that are our counties, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know most of our counties, our county governors are serving probably their last terms, their last 2 years in office, Madam Speaker. And for me, this is a challenge I want to throw to the governors, Madam Speaker, to ask our governors, Madam Speaker, and especially those serving the 2 terms, Madam Speaker, what legacy are our governors leaving behind? Because, Madam Speaker, for the last several years, we in this House have been fighting for increased county revenue allocations. Madam Speaker, it was only last year when we had this discussion in this House and in the Senate, Madam Speaker. And what we said, Madam Speaker, here is that no money that is released to counties should be less than what was allocated to counties in the last financial years. Madam Speaker, this is a spirit, as you can see. Now, this 2021-2022 financial year, you realize that counties have been allocated 370 billion. Madam Speaker, this is an increase from the 316 or thereabout that counties received last financial year, 2020-2021. Madam Speaker, this is a spirit that BBI has been trying. We are even reaching the 35% that BBI has been championing in this country. Because at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, resources must reach the people. Resources must go machinani, Madam Speaker. And this has been, you know, I tend to look at this and I ask myself, why are people opposing BBI? Because we are almost reaching 35%, which BBI has been propagating all this time in this country. We want to see governors leaving legacies, Madam Speaker, in our counties. Madam Speaker, I come from the county of Migori. And Migori, Madam Speaker, in this House is my business. You are aware that I have ably represented Migori as their women representative, Madam Speaker, before. I represent Migori now, Migori's persons with disabilities in this House, as any other persons with disabilities in this country. Madam Speaker, I still know and I still see the challenges that affect my people of Migori. Madam Speaker, Migori County has now been allocated 8 billion shillings, 2021-2022 financial year. Madam Speaker, as a woman, as a leader, and as a member of parliament from Migori, I would like to see my governor utilizing this money to address the challenges that continue to face my people of Migori. Madam Speaker, if you look at how this money has been allocated, you will realize that the biggest issues that this money has been put to are the issues that continue to face the people on a daily basis. Madam Speaker, healthcare. Madam Speaker, early childhood education. Madam Speaker, water. Madam Speaker, agriculture. Migori County, like any other county, Madam Speaker, is an agricultural county. And Madam Speaker, these are the mechanisms that I want to see my governor and many other governors putting the needs of their people before themselves. Madam Speaker, healthcare is devolved, and it is high time, Madam Speaker, we see governors looking at issues of healthcare from a gender perspective. Madam Speaker, we cannot talk about gender, about healthcare, when we allocate 18% or 17% of healthcare, of funds going to healthcare without addressing issues of reproductive health, issues of maternal health, issues of, these maternities. Madam Speaker, health in this country is huge. And we can no longer, Madam Speaker, in this time and era talk about health without looking at issues of mental health. Because the president talks about mental health. Everybody in this world, Mr. Speaker, is talking mental health. Madam Speaker, our governors must be brought to book to understand what are the issues in healthcare, so that every county, the 17% that goes to county, we must have a mental health unit in those counties talking about health. Madam Speaker, we must also look at issues of persons with disabilities, Madam Speaker, in our counties. When we are talking about healthcare, every county, Madam Speaker, must have, what we are calling, a centers for persons with disabilities, rehabilitation centers. Madam Speaker, persons with disabilities live in counties. They belong to counties. And Madam Speaker, so many counties in this country have never been responsible for their persons with disabilities in this country. They leave persons with disability matters to come to Nairobi. All the way from Migingo to come to Nairobi, looking for wheelchairs, looking for whatever. Persons with disabilities belong to county, and it's high time governors understood this. Madam Speaker, we must be serious. My colleague has spoken about another devolved thing here that is called early childhood education. Early childhood education is huge, Madam Speaker. ECD teachers in almost every county here do not get recognized anywhere by their county governments. And yet they provide the basic requirements and the basic education for our children and the basic foundations. Madam Speaker, I have seen the challenges that continue to face our people from right in our own homestead. This money cannot go to address huge things that are for Nairobi, for national. ECD teachers, Madam Speaker, must be recognized. They are usually underpaid, they are overworked, and yet they are the best foundation for our children. Members of Parliament, we must protect ECD teachers in this country, and their allocation must be given. Madam Speaker, the 2021-2022 budget, if governors are sharp and clever enough in this country, Madam Speaker, they can revolutionize development in this country. But you find that there are some governors who their work is to steal, their work is to employ relatives, their work is to siphon funds. What business is that, Madam Speaker? This is huge money that can actually develop this country. Now, the issue of pending bills, Madam Speaker. We have seen contractors in our counties. Everywhere you go, contractors are crying. They have supplied services to the county government. They have never been paid for the last 1 year. Some have been divorced by their wives. Some have been kicked out of their homes. Madam Speaker, some, you cannot even know this is a contractor who was given 10 million of work to do. Madam Speaker, they're crying and looking for harambes. The issue of pending bills, as has been described by the CS for National Treasury, Madam Speaker, counties must prioritize clearing the bills that are pending before 30th of June. And Madam Speaker, this money must be released so fast, Madam Speaker, so that they're also able to help these people. Madam Speaker, I have also said that the Senate have actually brought together all these issues to be addressed. And my county, Migori, Madam Speaker, that gets 8 billion, Madam Speaker, from 6 billion that it had received the last financial year. Madam Speaker, that is huge money. And for me, I want to throw it to my governor. He has to develop places he has never developed. And Madam Speaker, some of us come from counties that are extremely cosmopolitan. Migori is one county, right from the middle of Rongo to Esebania Sirare border Mara, Tarime, that side. That is my county, Madam Speaker. And what we want to see is a situation where governors, Madam Speaker, as they leave the office and leave their own legacies, they must leave legacies of equitable development. And Madam Speaker, even moving forward, that is what happened with the CDF. When it reached a point, CDF actually brought in the issue of equalization fund. Madam Speaker, equalization fund came to actually help, to kind of help where CDF did not probably reach. Now we have funds that go into counties. How then can this House, or even the Senate, Madam Speaker, itself, come up with another mechanism that can actually provide conditional grants or conditional or non-conditional funds to support other areas, Madam Speaker, that have not gotten this kind of development? So, Madam Speaker, I want to throw this challenge to governors to be able to actually ensure that they pay their staff. We have even MCAs, Madam Speaker, who are crying. For the last 4 years, for the last 4 months, 5 months, MCAs, honorable MCAs have never received salary. CECs have not received salary. Contractors have not received their money. Madam Speaker, we must develop mechanisms that ensure prudent disbursement and, of this money, Madam Speaker, so that development can be felt in every corner of this country. Madam Speaker, I support this bill.
Well said, Honorable Danita. Let me have the member for Lamu, the member representing the county of Lamu, the county women rep.
Asante Bi Speaker kunipatia nafasi na mimi kupata kuchangia. Naunga mkono county zipate pesa, lakini county zikipata pesa hizo kwanza walipe madeni yao. Kama wenzangu walivyotangulia kuzungumza, wanakandarasi wengi wanapata shida, na wengine walichukua mikopo, na wengine pia wana familia. So ni muhimu mwanzo walipe, kisha waendelee na mengine. Pia nizungumze kuhusu pesa zinazopelekwa, zinazostahili kupelekwa kwa pensheni. Pesa hizo zinafaa county wapeleke mwanzo, kwa sababu wao wanakata kwa wafanyikazi, kisha kule hawapeleki. Sasa hiyo, Speaker, ni kama kombora ambalo linangojea kupasuka. Itafika wakati iwe wale wafanyikazi wa county hawawezi kulipwa pensheni yao, na hiyo itakuwa ni vibaya sana, kwa sababu mtu amefanya kazi akitoa jasho lake, akijua akienda uzeeni amejipanga, kisha aende akose pesa hizo. Imekuwa shida kwa haya mashirika ya pensheni, sababu wanaomba county wawalipe, hawalipi. Na si county zote, kuna county wanaolipa vizuri, lakini kuna county hawalipi. Labda hapa, Speaker, itatubidi sisi tutunge sheria, zile county ambazo hazilipi basi wafanyikazi wao wasilipwe, kwa sababu kuna county zingine wanachukua hiyo wanakimbia kulipa, na wanaona tu wafanyikazi wao wanalipwa. So labda tutunge sheria, pesa ya pensheni ikatwe kabla haijafika kwa county, au pia wasilipwe wafanyikazi ambao county zao hawalipi. Manake hii ni shida kubwa, na italeta shida kwa wafanyikazi wa county. Nikizungumzia upande wa formula, ile formula inayozungumzika hapa, mwanzo ningependa kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu na nimshukuru Rais wetu Uhuru Kenyatta kwa sababu ya kujenga bandari ya Lamu. Sisi hapa kilio changu na kimesikika. Muda siku zote nikiwa hapa nang'ang'ania na nikisikia uchungu watu wakisema kwamba wako wengi, sisi tuko kidogo. Nikiona uchungu tukiambiwa tuko kidogo. Lakini nashukuru kwa hii poti ya Lamu kujengwa, na sisi hili la kusema tuko kidogo litaenda kwenye kaburi la sahau. Sasa wengine sasa watalia wao, kwa sababu sisi poti mtakuja kule Lamu na tutakuwa na watu wengi, tutahesabu ni wetu. Na inshallah mgao huu utaweza kuja kwa formula hii, itatusaidia sisi mlikuwa mkiona ni kidogo. Sasa hii inshallah tutakuwa wengi, Mungu akipenda. Speaker, na mimi nizungumzie kuhusu afya. Pesa hizi county wakipata wahakikishe, manake afya ni kila kitu, wahakikishe wamezitumia vizuri kwa afya, na pia watumie nafasi hiyo ya kwenda kuhamasisha na kuwaeleza wananchi, especially kina mama, mambo ya afya. Afya sisi sio kujenga hospitali tu, ile service ambazo zinapeanwa wazijue. Kama kuna changamoto sehemu za kwetu, kuna watu hawafikii zile hospitali. Hospitali kama ya King Fahad iliyopo pale, wengine kufika kutoka Kiunga mpaka kule ni shilingi 2,000. Sasa tunawaomba hawa magavana wahakikishe kila ward, hata kwetu kila ward, hata lakini kwetu haiendi pia hata kwa ward. Manake kama ward ya Kiunga, Speaker, Ndau, Kiwaiu iko kwa wodi moja na Kiunga, lakini hospitali kubwa ikiwa Kiunga haimsaidii mtu wa Ndau, itabidi ule mtu wa Ndau afadhali ende Lamu kuliko kurudi Kiunga. Kwa hivyo sehemu zetu zina changamoto za usafiri. Hawa governor wamepewa hii nafasi, manake kila ukitaka kuzungumzia kuhusu health, wanakuambia afya, wanakuambia hii si yako, si kazi yako. Lakini ni kazi yao, basi wafanye ile inayostahili kufanyika. Hizi visiwa angalau vipate huduma mzuri ya afya, manake ikiwa kama kwenye kisiwa hakuna daktari, huwa ni shida sana. Watu wanabidi wasafiri wakizidiwa na magonjwa usiku, au bahari ni chafu, si sawa. Kila mtu anafaa ajihisi ni Mkenya na zile service zimfikie pale alipo. Pia nikizungumza upande wa maji, Speaker, maji ni uhai na tunasema siku zote. Governors wamepewa nafasi, tunajua pia sisi serikali kuu pia tuna nafasi, tuna majukumu yetu. Tunang'ang'ana kwa upande wetu, lakini county wao wamepewa hii nafasi. Sisi hata tuking'ang'ana kwa serikali kuu, kisha hupewa wao kufanya. Kwa hivyo tunawaomba magovernors wakipewa pesa hizi wazitumie vizuri, maji yawafikie wanaopata shida zaidi ni kina mama na watoto. Kwa hivyo ikiwa mimi naona sana mwanamke akiulizwa badala kujenga ataenda kwenye maji na afya. lakini wengi magavana ni wanaume, ndio maana tunataka tubadilishe hawa magavana wengi wawe wanawake. Manake hizi huduma zinafaa hizi huduma hizi wanawake ndio wanazifikiria sana kuliko wanaume. Wanaume wanataka kujenga. Asante Bi Speaker. Kuna mengi ya kuzungumza, acha niwapatie nafasi wenzangu wazungumze. Asante.
Asante. Tutakuja huko tukue wengi. Very well. And the next member is the member for Isiolo, Honorable Jaldesa Dida, the county member for Isiolo County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to also add my voice to this very important bill. Madam Speaker, the County Allocation Revenue Bill 2020 by the Senate, which gives a total allocation of Kenya shilling 370 billion as an equitable share to county government, is a bill that I will support with a very heavy heart, because I may not have an opportunity to amend it, and therefore the best I can do is to support and give my contribution and what I feel should have been done in the interest of the people of Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, the horizontal distribution of equitable share among 47 counties has been and will always remain a very controversial discussion that, as was said by the mover, the chairman of the budget, that I do not want to go into the pros and the cons of it. However, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sir, I must say some few things. That it will be absurd to imagine that we can achieve any meaningful development in this county or in this country when we continue to marginalize some part of this country. And that is why my brother, the nominee 001, who is always very passionate about the rights of the marginalized, the people with the disability, the pastoralists, spoke so passionate. Madam Speaker, I wish I had that kind of passion to address this matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, sorry. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the parameters of how these funds are distributed, especially on the weights that were given, you look at it, you are saying 18% is given to population, 17% to health index, 10% to agriculture, 8% to land mass, without considering that all this weight, in one way or another, looks at population. Because when they assume that the number of hospitals that are in Nairobi, in Kiambu, or in Siaya is the same as the number of hospitals in Isiolo, is very misplaced, Mr. Speaker. Because in my county, you can even take 2 hours to access a health center from one center to another. Without forgetting, Mr. Speaker, it is on a rough road. Mr. Speaker, the only tarmac road that I have within my county is the one that starts from Nairobi, goes through Thika Highway, past Karatina to Nyeri. It passes through the chairman of the budget's constituency, Chaka, Isiolo, then to Moyale. That's where it ends. I don't even have 1 kilometer of roads from that main road, Mr. Speaker. And you assume that 17% of funds allocated to health is the same. That is so sad. Likewise, 10% to agriculture. Whereas Isiolo County has a huge chunk of land, Mr. Speaker, we have a challenge of water. We do not have water to do irrigation, to do farming. Mr. Speaker, even the people who struggle to do farming from the rivers do not have access to market because we do not have roads. And here, you give a flat, uniform 10%. Mr. Speaker, it is so sad, it is so unfair. That is why, as much as I support the government, I am elected on the ruling party ticket, I stood here and opposed BBI. Because of the marginalization it continues to bring to my people. Mr. Speaker, having said that, it is important, it is timely, we pass this bill so that the counties can get money. Mr. Speaker, every time I go to Isiolo, I get back to Nairobi a very sad mother or a sad leader, because I am approached by county staff who have not been paid for 6 months. They are mothers, they are fathers, they are breadwinners for 6 months, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the statutory deduction never submitted to the right bodies. I know the staff from Isiolo County. NHIF are deducted from them, NHIF are deducted from them, but it is never submitted. Therefore, they cannot enjoy the benefit of NHIF cover. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we have lost confidence with the bodies that are supposed to ensure accountability in this country, especially the EACC. Mr. Speaker, it has become another cartel in this country, where governors who have corruption cases have representatives in those offices, rushing there with briefcase full of money. They have become the office where justice is sold to the highest bidder. And Mr. Speaker, if I am told to substantiate, I can do that. Because we get reports from Controller of Budget, from Office of the Auditor General, where clearly a governor is proved to have stolen money. Citizen report, no action is taken, Mr. Speaker. And that is why we feel so sad. I was actually conversing with my majority whip, and I said sometime, my people are saying we are better off without the county. And I could, resonate when the majority leader was saying some counties were just even worse off than when we did not have a county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our hospitals are in a very sorry state. Water. Mr. Speaker, 2 days ago, I lost 1 boy and 2 are now nursing injuries in a hospital because of a shoddy job that was done by the county. And a water tank fell off, and it fell on a boy who lost his life, and 2 are fighting for their life. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we pass this bill, we must really put institutions, especially EACC, DCI, those who are mandated to ensure accountability of public resources are really taken serious. And as a House, Mr. Speaker, we must rise to the occasion. I think we have failed on our roles. Thank you, I support.
Let's have Honorable Nyikal. And I know Honorable Nyikal, just like many other members here, I'm very impressed. You've been very patient, just like many other members here. I thought you were just seated the same place in the last sitting, and quite a few other members. Honorable 001, I know you are as patient. But
thank you.
Honorable Nyikal now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the county allocation of revenue bill, Mr. Speaker, because the counties need money. We created a devolved system. We created the counties. We wanted them to get the services closer to the people. It's important they get money and they get it in time. My colleagues have narrated many issues where people are not getting money, the problems that are in place, the services are not being given, business people are not getting paid, and in a situation of COVID, as we are in COVID-19, I think the counties need money. However, Mr. Speaker, having listened to the chair and listened to many of my other colleagues, I actually find that there are very serious policy issues that actually deal with how we have managed our devolution up to now that still need to be addressed. We have a formula for doing this allocation of revenue at the county level, and we know how this formula brought a lot of issues in the Senate. Last year, it was actually the division of revenue that brought issues. Luckily, we have gone through that, and now we had a problem with the formula. The formula seems to stress just two things: the number of people, and a lot of emphasis is put on that, and the expanse of the region. Those are important, and actually, it is true that if you have 100,000 people to serve who live in 1 or 10 square kilometers, for example, in an urban setting, and you have 100,000 people who actually live in 200 square kilometers, the services that they need can be provided at extremely different costs. So that is important. And therefore, taking the number of people and the expanse is important. But what has been missing, and all the members are saying here, that the formula as it is are flat rates and do not take into consideration the needs of individual counties. And Mr. Speaker, we've seen this before, and that is what even gives us the problem in division of revenue. Because the budgeting process only starts at the counties to a large extent when the money has been divided. So you then wonder, other than the formula, has anybody looked at the needs of the counties? Mr. Speaker, the chair of the budget is here, and I think I would like to say that we must as a country try to see whether, apart from the formula that we have put in place, annually it should be important to actually find out what are the needs of individual counties, in exactly the same way as we do with the national government when we are dealing with the department and agencies. By the time we sit here with the budget policy statement, we are quite clear of what their needs are. We don't give them what they need, but it gives us a guidance. So if you have that formula, which is tampered with actual needs, I think we will get a long way. So I think that is one issue that I think we should raise. Mr. Speaker, there's another issue that comes with almost every member who is speaking, that what the counties are doing are different from county to county. There are a lot of complaints. The counties are not offering the services as expected, the quality of services people are complaining about. But we have a national issue that we have not addressed. The national government, in respect to devolved functions, are still supposed to hold standards and policies. while the counties are actually supposed to do the implementation and offer the services. But do we have in our constitution, as it is, or with the structures we have put in place, a mechanism for enforcing those policies? If one county is operating against the national policy, what can be done? For example, in areas like health. If one county is operating not within the standards or below standards, what can be done? And we know instances where an effort by national government to actually enforce this, actually they're flatly told, this is not your domain. And members have said this one here. So we must look at how are the national policies, national standards are going to be enforced at the county level without, again, taking over the functions of the counties. I think that is something we have not looked at. We have the intergovernmental relations structures, but again, they do not have the enforcement capacity to do that. The director of budget also attempts at times to hold funds when certain things have not been done. But again, it is not clear. So I think there's a policy issue, and my view generally, if you find something recurring similarly in the same way in several structures, you have a policy issue that should be looked at. The other issue that actually we are not looking at when we are giving these monies, these funds, the county revenue raising process. Do we actually look at how much funds the counties are able to raise themselves? If you look at the national government budget structure, we have the A in A for the departments and also for the ministries. So we take into consideration their ability to raise money, and they are taken to task on how much money they have raised. If they said at the beginning we raised this much, first of all, they'll miss it, but then it will be one of the targets they fail. In the case of the counties, do we actually put any target? Do the counties themselves put any target which they are held accountable for, and who will hold them accountable to that? Again, the same issue that I think. So I see, Mr. Speaker, that as devolution is progressing, I think there are many, many issues, structural issues, policy issues, management issues that we have to look at, particularly together between the national and the county government and the inter-county government relations instruments, because I think those instruments are not helping. Mr. Speaker, having said that, there are issues that were actually raised by the chairman. One of pending bills. Mr. Speaker, it is horrible. I actually know businessmen who have actually sold their cars. I know people whose children are in school. I know people who borrowed money from banks and have been sold out, and they have not been paid. That is not what we intended when we went for devolution. And why is this happening? Is it because they don't have enough money? We do not give them enough money? Is it that the formulas that we're working with don't work? Is there a problem of budgeting versus the planning that they have? But who then is going to help them if this is happening everywhere? Mr. Speaker, is it the procurement and payment process? Mr. Speaker, I know, for example, in health, the problem with KEMSA, why KEMSA does not get paid by the counties is that there is nobody who is going to chase the vouchers for KEMSA. The people who are doing roads and buildings actually, I think, stand there at the windows, talk to the finance officers, so that these are actually orphan vouchers. So those are structures that we need to put in place. We also raised the issue of transparency, lack of transparency. Again, we go through that. Members talked about the role of EACC, but we needed some other structures even before you go to that level. You cannot have a system that is just based on punishment after the event. You need a system that actually monitors and corrects things as we go by. So that's something we all need to look at. The process of prioritization, health. Health is suffering. We actually probably may have to think of ring-fencing the health funds. Because once again, it may be one of these vouchers that nobody is chasing and therefore cannot be serviced. So, Mr. Speaker, I the bill.
Honorable Shinali Masaka, member for Ikolomani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise also to support County Allocation Revenue Bill 2021-22. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues have talked quite a lot on this bill. I wish to look at just two issues, Mr. Speaker, to add on what they have said. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is as we look at the bill, we shall find that monies sent to the county, Mr. Speaker, recurrent expenditure is always surpassed. They surpass the ceiling of the recurrent expenditure in the counties, Mr. Speaker, which is against the good, which is against the whole proposal of making 30% to 70% development and 30% recurrent, and the maximum should be 50% recurrent and 50% development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also as you look even at you look at the county assemblies, Mr. Speaker, there is also the same issue surpassing recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker, and as we continue looking through the budget, the expenditure of the county assembly, Mr. Speaker, you see that there are also pending bills which are coming up. Then you wonder, Mr. Speaker, how the county assemblies would accumulate these pending bills. Mr. Speaker, information coming by is that the county assemblies hold their meetings in local hotels, and they don't pay, because when the funds come to the county, Mr. Speaker, they are held by the county governments. They do not release them immediately, Mr. Speaker, which is sometimes used to wink the MCAs in support of the governor, or sometime, Mr. Speaker, it is used to make counties, to force counties to pass certain bills for the county, Mr. Speaker. The point I'm trying to make, Mr. Speaker, is that there should be structures such that when county assemblies, monies are sent to the county assemblies, they are sent direct to the county assemblies, not through the county government, the executive, which will be a better fiscal discipline, Mr. Speaker, for the county assemblies. Mr. Speaker, I wish also to comment on the issue of pending bills, Mr. Speaker, where monies are sent to the counties. Like right now, monies are sent to the counties. They are not channeled to the proposed or intended development pending bills. And they are diverted to be spent by the executive, Mr. Speaker, on recurrent expenditures, which only would suit the county executive, Mr. Speaker. This has really affected the business people in the counties, and these are local business people who are coming up, Mr. Speaker, who have borrowed loans from commercial banks to start up businesses. They get tenders with the counties, Mr. Speaker, and then they are not paid their monies. What this now amounts to, Mr. Speaker, is to cause the businesses to collapse, to cause the businesses and the business people to be auctioned, Mr. Speaker. It is only fair, Mr. Speaker, that the money sent to counties, there is a proper structure on how pending bills will be first charged to the monies that are sent on the counties, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if the way counties are being run right now, especially with the second-term governors continue, Mr. Speaker, we might not realize any meaningful development in our counties, because they know and they are aware that it's time for them now to save money, make as much as possible, and move on. Mr. Speaker, it will be prudent for this House to allocate more funds to DPP, to AICC, and DCI, and if possible, devolve those offices close to into the counties, Mr. Speaker, so that they are effective. We realize that ESCC and the DPP have lean staff, and since we devolved services to the counties, Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry to say, it is a way of also devolving corruption, because corruption has shifted quite a lot from the central government, the national government, to the counties. And it is time it looked into such that the corruption is capped. Mr. Speaker, lastly, I want to say we have serious marginalization in the counties because of maybe the governors or the executive feel they were not voted from certain corners of the county, and they don't do equal development in those areas. What I wish is, Mr. Speaker, this Ward Development Fund is put in law such that it's no longer a favor from the governor to give county ward fund. And it is actually standardized so that every ward knows what is going to get to build their own health service, to build dispensaries and other amenities and so on. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important aspect that maybe we need to really look into, because people from large counties like us, like Kakamega, with 12 constituencies, and maybe and many others that I know, we have seen this happening, disagreements between the governors and the MCAs, and especially where we have different parties. We have seen it affect the development in the areas they come from, and yet, and hence, the issue of Ward Development Fund comes in handy, Mr. Speaker. A good example is CDF, Mr. Speaker, because if we didn't have CDF, some areas of this country would not be having any development. And we have the same happening in the counties when governors are distributing their development in their counties, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to sum up by commenting on the issue of ECT teachers, Mr. Speaker. ECT teachers earn different salaries in all counties, Mr. Speaker. And even as they earn right now, it is not known whether they're employed on permanent basis or on casual basis. And even the distribution of teacher to student ratio is also also not standardized. What I mean is, Mr. Speaker, what I want to say is it will be better if these services are brought back to TSC, to the national government, Mr. Speaker, so that we have a standardized throughout the country system of education, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support.
First of all, Honorable Ochada, member for board. Okay. Try that.
Fine. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my mic was apparently on for the entire time that Chinale was doing his comments.
Is that why we had some private conversation?
Maybe, maybe not. So, Mr. Speaker, on this, I have like only 2 or 3 reasons why I support the bill. One is that it caused unnecessary noise in the country, and it has brought a lot of delays in terms of how counties are supposed to get their funds. That's why I want to support it. The second one is I'm supporting it because it is domiciled in the Senate. It's not necessarily our bill. But if I were to look at this critically, Mr. Speaker, I think the parameters that have been brought around for purposes of horizontal allocation, horizontal distribution of county resources really needs to be looked at very, very, very seriously. I think the Senate was disregarding very many other things that the Constitution has. And the Constitution is very clear in terms of how extra resources are given out to many other parts of the country. I know there's a problem in terms of, for example, how equalization There's a very, very big problem. You cannot use health. Because historically there are places where they've had health infrastructure placed properly for a long period of time historically. To use this county allocations to address that, I think it's like trying to double place resources for those kind of areas, because those areas are properly recognized under equalization fund arrangement. And it is upon this house, it is up really to us to make sure that equalization works. And when equalization works, it is supposed to address those historical issues. It's supposed to address water. It's supposed to address electricity. And it's supposed to address all this infrastructure that we are now trying to use as parameters again for purposes of distributing money across counties. So, Mr. Speaker, that's where there's a big anomaly. So when we get to start using parameters like health again to give money, that is a problem. So this is the time that I want to believe that we needed to be very clear. Services for whom? And this is why I was more closer to those who are saying, no, let's give money based on people. It is people who are supposed to be given service. So let's give it to people. We count, we get to know this is the number of people, and this is the kind of a service that is required. Then we place money based on what the needs of the people. And that's exactly the purpose of the Constitution. Our needs are never going to be the same again. Counties have different needs. Counties have different priorities. Lamu is different from Busia. Baringo is different from Narok. And that's exactly why these counties are supposed to be different governments for purposes of how they want to look at their priorities. So, Mr. Speaker, at that point, I still don't really see the parameters that have been developed and the parameters that have been approved by Senate as useful to this country. It's something that must still be revisited. Mr. Speaker, getting down in terms of usage of money at the county levels, there is a much more bigger problem. There's a much more bigger problem. One, I think something needs to be looked at. I don't know how the national government, which definitely has a constitutional mandate to help the counties, I don't know whether that time is expired, but the national government was supposed to support, build the capacities of county governments to see exactly what they are able to do or what they must do. The budget process in counties needs to be a replica of the budget process that we do in this National Assembly under the national government. It's not very easy because our budget process is guided and is timed, that we are sure that this BPS is going to be there by, budget policy statement is going to be there by March. We are going to be given indicators in terms of this is the direction where we are supposed to go, this is the priority of the nation, and these are the main agendas and stuff like that. That kind of a thing is not there in the counties. Counties don't have this budget policy statements. They are relying fully on what they are calling CIDPs, which are sometimes very irrelevant because they are copied from one county to the other, sometimes very irrelevant because of the time that they are brought out, and many more times they are not respected. And beyond that, counties are also using almost up to 30% of what they are calling public participation, how they are placing their monies. You see, the Senate places money like we are doing it at the moment, and once money gets into a county, that county starts getting into their own processes, and that process, many of them are not guided properly. In my philosophy, the way I know how governments are supposed to be, it is normally said that government is man writ large. The government is a person that is made big. It's big. It's supposed to think big for the people. So if you have a budget, you have resources, and you want somebody, an individual who has completely no idea how a government runs, to be guiding where to place resources, I think there's a problem. And this is a major problem in the counties, particularly in their budget process. Something really needs to be looked at here. Capacities of these county governments in terms of the steps that we go through in how we come up with our budget as a national government and as this house really needs to be something that county assemblies needs to do for purposes of making sure that at least the budgets of the county governments work. As at now, things are so haywire. In fact, a lot of these monies that we are talking about and the placing, I believe even the issue of pending bills, they are so massive, they are so big because many of them are not structured in a sense of priorities. Many are just placed. That no, we are going to do road A, it is so ad hoc, it's brought up either in the executive meeting or wherever it is, the following day, a contractor is in place doing the road. So things are done in a very ad hoc manner to an extent that by the end of the day, the build-up on pending bills become as a norm. It's so you expect it in every county because this is exactly what's happening. But it's not right. Mr. Speaker, the things that counties are supposed to do, we placed some money here before for purposes of, for example, the village polytechnics. If you get to some of these counties, you'll be shocked that some of these monies, even the ones that we have been placing as conditional grants for purpose of doing village polytechnics, there are no village polytechnics. There are no village polytechnics. The village polytechnics that I knew, for example, in my constituency, which were like 8 or so, only one is operational, almost fully. The others are either dead or one is operating up to the level of a quarter in terms of what they do. So out of 8, only 1.5, for example, is working in my constituency. If you replicate that with look at that across the 6 other, or the 5 other constituencies in the county, then you realize that village polytechnics are actually dead. They are not going to be there. And 2, in terms of where they are placed, when the transition, 100% transition is taking everybody. Transition government is taking everybody to Form 1. So what are village polytechnics for? Because they were supposed to be absorbing people who are done, the candidates who are done class 8 and maybe Form 2 or something like that. As at now, everybody is going to Form 1. So what are these for? So there are some of the things that we really have to rethink again, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Awero Kerie, member for Dagoretti South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I'm really honored to be contributing to this county allocation revenue bill. Mr. Speaker, I do understand that this budget making season is actually a very important season for this House. And in fact, this one is premised on the principle that there should be no taxation without representation, making this business that we are doing here today, Mr. Speaker, very important business. In fact, I dare say one of the most important businesses that this House will transact. Mr. Speaker, I want to stand and support the report by the committee chaired by the Honorable Kanini Kega and commend them for the good job that they have done, because this county allocation of revenue registration is introduced in accordance with the provisions of Article 218, which intend to equitably distribute the monies, the national cake as we call it, to the 47 counties, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the case of this specific bill, the Senate has already passed it, and I know they're just seeking concurrence with the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Kanini Kega's committee noted 2 very key things. One is the issue of pending bills. In this city, Mr. Speaker, there are people who have conducted business with the Nairobi City County. People today who are being auctioned. People today who are dying out of lifestyle diseases like heart attacks and high blood pressure because they have so much pressure because of the monies that have not been paid. This is an important issue that was noted by this committee. The second issue the committee noted, Mr. Speaker, is that these county ceilings have been improved on account of personal emoluments and settlement of outstanding bills yet again. Mr. Speaker, that is not why I rise. I rise here specifically for the matters that concern Nairobi City. Mr. Speaker, today, this morning, we were here debating the annual budget estimates, which allocated close to 8.9 billion Kenya shillings. That is on average 9 billion Kenya shillings going from the national budget to Nairobi City. We are here now talking about the county allocation of revenue, close to 19.2 billion Kenyan shillings being pumped into this city. Mr. Speaker, this city, without even raising a finger, just from parking fees, land rates, and other revenues that they collect, they will collect a further 12 to 15 billion Kenya shillings. In total, Mr. Speaker, that is close to 42 billion Kenya shillings that will be going to this city of Nairobi in this financial year. It begs the question, Mr. Speaker, then, will I be seeing development projects in Dagoretti South constituency to the tune of close to 2 billion Kenya shillings? When you go to Dagoretti South constituency today, Mr. Speaker, you will see the impact of 100 million Kenya shillings of CDF in the constituency. So this money, 42 billion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker, will I be seeing it in Dagoretti South constituency in this financial year? Mr. Speaker, Nairobi is also in a peculiar situation because we understand that there has been a transfer of critical functions to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. The legality of this transfer, Mr. Speaker, is not a discussion for today, even though I understand that this is a case that is alive in our courts, where the issue of the legality of Nairobi Metropolitan City is being prosecuted. The point I want to make, Mr. Speaker, is that while it is of national interest that the people of Nairobi receive the services that they require, it is also important that as they are being given these services by the Nairobi Metropolitan Cities, it be in line with all the attendant set of values which are espoused in Article 10 of our Constitution. This set of values, Mr. Speakers, do include the rule of law. They include democracy, of the participation of the people. They do include human dignity, Mr. Speaker. So much so that as much as I want the garbage outside Ndurarua Primary School cleared, I still would love for it to be done in a legal way, which involves the people of Nairobi City in a way where they have a voice as they are being taxed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as the transfer of services to Nairobi Metropolitan Services was happening, I'd like to say that the guiding principle which should have been followed should have been one that ensures that we are able to oversight the monies that go to these Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Mr. Speaker. But as it is, the framework that was used for the transfer, I would like to say, is not fully provided for in the Constitution, which has left the situation in Nairobi to be at best unclear, if not opaque, Mr. Speaker. The deed of transfer of functions did nothing to provide for the disbursement modalities of the monies that we shall be sending to the Nairobi City County, Mr. Speaker. Now, this confusion, Mr. Speaker, spells doom for the institutions that are supposed to be oversighting the monies that I have talked about, Mr. Speaker. The monies to the tune of 42 billion Kenya shillings being pumped into Nairobi City in this year. Because, Mr. Speaker, if there is money going to Nairobi City through the office of the president, how will the County Assembly of Nairobi be able to oversight that? On the flip side, Mr. Speaker, if there is money being allocated to the County of Nairobi in an emasculated assembly, because we know the situation of our assembly in the Nairobi City today, how can Parliament then be able to go to the assembly and oversight the 19 billion that is being sent there? So in essence, the county assembly will not be able to oversight over the 9 billion that will be going to the office of the president. This parliament will not be in a situation where we can oversight the 19 billion plus the 12 billion Kenya shillings that will be going to the county assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say that the best case scenario, to my mind, should have been a situation where if we are transferring the critical functions to an entity like Nairobi Metropolitan Services, then it should have been done in such a way that the monies go to the Ministry of Devolution, which we would be able to oversight. And then the Ministry of Devolution would then transfer these monies to the line ministries that are responsible for the transferred functions. Anything beyond that, Mr. Speaker, leaves a loophole for all manner of hanky-panky to happen. Mr. Speaker, the people of Nairobi are seeing the efforts of Nairobi Metropolitan City Services, especially in the CBD. However, there is much more that needs to be done in terms of the sewerage in our estates, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the feeder roads, Mr. Speaker, in terms of agriculture, which is a devolved function that people do not understand that there is agriculture happening in this city. In places like the Dagoretti South constituency, we have very serious farmers, Mr. Speaker, doing their work. So even as we are talking about the successes of Nairobi Metropolitan City Services, it ought to be in line with the Constitution so that even the Kenyans who are investing heavily in this city are able to account for the monies that have been invested in this city. Mr. Speaker, I do believe that with this the county allocation revenue bill, we shall be able to unblock a big issue of this payment of pending bills, Mr. Speaker, which in turn shall pump some money into the people's pockets, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with that, I would like to support the work of the committee and also support this county allocation revenue bill. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Hero, those from the villages thought that you don't farm here. We thought you farm concrete. But now they know. But now they know. Somebody like Honorable Nyamai Lecho now knows. it is your turn to speak.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity also to support the county allocation bill and also to thank the departmental committee on budget and appropriations for the good work that they've been doing with very select committee within very strict timelines. Honorable Speaker, this bill is meant to provide the equitable share of revenue to our counties. And Honorable Speaker, I take note that it has allocated a good chunk of it to my county, Kitui, which I've just confirmed that it is 10.3 billion out of the 370 billion. Mr. Speaker, this is an increment, and I believe that it is in a good direction, that the national government has promised that more and more funds will be sent to the counties. Mr. Speaker, I would like to also note that this is an increment with regard to all counties, that the allocation has moved from 316 billion to 370 billion. Honorable Speaker, I hope that this money can make a difference within our counties with regard to functions that have already been devolved, especially matters health, county health functions, agriculture, provision of water, provision of clean markets, which is a big concern today, where, as we know very well, that these dirty markets are also linked to poor health within our counties. Also the matter of our roads, as we are aware that they have been clearly classified to Kera, that some of them we deal with, and some of our county roads that are in very bad conditions, among other functions. Mr. Speaker, I would like, as I support what many of my colleagues have said, to take note of a lack of transparency in declaration and also payment of pending bills. Honorable Speaker, this is not a unique subject these days in our country, because most of our business people, most of them within our constituencies, are suffering because funds that they spend in, let me just use Parliament as an example. In the time we were in the 11th Parliament, they have never been paid. And this has caused terrible situations within families where children cannot go to school, where people who are relatively wealthy cannot even afford their own health care. And it is a matter that needs to be discussed. I'm happy also to note that the Cabinet Secretary was very clear that this should be the first charge. I want to believe that our counties, and specifically my county, will take into consideration this and ensure that all people who are pending bills are paid and do not care about their political situations at that time or even currently. I'm saying this because I am aware of people who are going through hell because of pending bills. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to say that it is important for, at the same time, the Senate to take clear consideration and take their time to scrutinize these pending bills.
Order, Honorable Nyamai. It is 9:30. The House must rise. But nevertheless, your space isn't gone. When this is scheduled next, you will have your 6 minutes to conclude your piece. Honorable members, the time being 9:30 p.m., this House started adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 16th June 2021 at 2:30 p.m.